If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune in to the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, this city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back. Thank you again for listening to another episode of the STL Bucket List Show. I'm your host, Marissa.
And I am your other host, Luke Farrell. And we had a really good year last year, guys. I mean, 44 episodes recorded. We recorded one every single week starting in March. And the viewership just keeps going up and up. So we can't thank you guys enough for the support.
Yeah.
We had some other exciting news coming out about St. Louis Graham that we just acquired. If you guys want to get more information about that, we're having a launch party. Art Market, January 26th. Come out, celebrate arts and culture in St. Louis. Partnered with the Regional Commission, or the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis, which is our largest presenting sponsor of the podcast. Along with Half Coast Studios and my friends over at Four Hands Brewing. Can't thank you guys enough for supporting the show.
For a year almost. Yeah, thank you.
And then this is our first episode with our new initiative.
Yes, Bucket List Gives. We're so excited. So as you know, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. This is like just a passion project. It's our baby. We really just want to use our platform to do better for the greater good of St. Louis by just giving nonprofits the opportunity to come onto the show. So we have our first guest today. We're going to get into it in a little bit. But not only just have them on the show, but also Luke using his wonders and works of marketing and things help out with nonprofits and what they need. We're going to go out into the field and work and just get our hands dirty a little bit. And then just we invite any of our listeners and followers to also join in giving back to the community and just getting involved in nonprofits because they're important. They need support. They need to be highlighted. And so that's something that we're going to start doing this year. And we're going to kick it off today, focusing on the St. Patrick Center. And so, Kevin, welcome to our
what's
show.
What's up, guys?
Kevin
Thank
Lashley.
you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming in, man. We've been excited to talk to you. Obviously, you have a podcast too. If you just want to start it out, tell us a little bit about your guys' show.
Yeah, well, first off, congratulations on the consistency. You know, you guys have had great consistency, great quality guests, and just content coming from you guys in the STL Bucket List show. So congratulations. We actually started the same week.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey,
I think it was like the same day or the next
it might have been. It might have been back to back days.
And I was like, damn, he's gonna be mad at me.
Well, no, I called you. Like, hey, dude, I'm gonna come out tomorrow, and you said the same thing. You're like, I'm dropping tomorrow too, and we're like, there we go. So no, I definitely think me and your relationship has been like more of a champion relationship, nothing competitive at all. So that's what I really value about your friendship, Luke. So
thank you
for sure on that. But yeah, so my podcast, More Than a Soup Kitchen. So that's a podcast that's presented by St. Patrick Center, which is where I'm employed. I'm the communications and marketing manager over there. So doing all of our social, all of our digital communications, public relations, things like that. So, was like last year in like February, March, started the podcast. So we haven't been as consistent as you guys, but we've got 15 episodes out.
Okay,
and it's hard.
It is hard. It's
and you
really
have a
hard.
lot going on too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm trying to manage all of that, but yeah, we have a strategy, and we're hoping that we can really take off this year and start to increase some of those. Some of that content, get more of it out there and share more stories. So we share a lot of stories from our clients, our partners, some of our staff members on homelessness and other things in that area of civic services. So yeah,
it is hard, and it's really hard. Not only the consistency, but it also costs money to do this stuff too. And a lot of people don't think about that stuff, and it costs money, but more or less time. And your guys' episodes, are like way more powerful than anything we put out. Like I've listened to, I know the first couple of them, and the stories from your guys' clients. You're bringing your clients in that have worked through the system and worked their way up, and now they work some of them work at St. Patrick's Center.
I was going to say, tell us about some of the stories that have been shared. You guys can go listen, obviously, right? But just share a few.
Yeah, for sure. So once again, bringing in our clients, letting them tell their stories I like to work all the way back into their childhood. And one reason why I like to do that is to create a similarity between, you know, myself, the listeners, and the clients, because, you know, we're all the same, you know, we're all brought up the same, you know, generally speaking. And so we kind of tell their timeline and what led them to becoming homeless, or unhoused and maybe unemployed, what led to maybe PTSD or whatever they're struggling with. And then we talk about their journey to the St. Patrick's Center, through the St. Patrick's Center programs, and into like rehabilitation, into housing, and into prosperity. So telling some stories, for instance, we have a gentleman, Rico Dotson, who actually is employed at St. Patrick's Center now. He got hit in 2008 with the financial crisis, became unemployed. He calls it getting the golden parachute. And at that point, he decided to take a journey into the nonprofit space. So he came to St. Patrick's Center, learned about our resources, and is now employed with us, and has been employed since 2008, 2009. So he's been with St. Patrick's Center for quite some time. And so we have several stories like that. We have some stories with some families. I just did an interview with a family, which was pretty powerful. And a lot of people don't think about the impact of homelessness on children. Or housing instability on children, and having to move from school district to school district, especially in St. Louis, right? Mm-hmm. When our number one question is, where'd you go to school? And you're having to switch schools, you know, every year because of housing instability. It's pretty impactful. And I got to learn that firsthand or third hand through this conversation. So yeah, it's been pretty impactful for me to learn more about, you know, the services and also the clients that we help. Yeah. So, yeah.
So aside from the podcast and just all the things that you do, the helping hand that you lend in, you know, St. Patrick's, how long have you been working there?
Yeah, so I've been working at St. Patrick's Center for about a year and a half now. It's been amazing, honestly. I came from an organization that helped victims of sex trafficking before St. Patrick's Center, and then I joined St. Patrick's Center, and just being able to really see the impact of an organization like SPC and what we're able to do and what we've been doing for over 40 years. We're coming up on our 40-year anniversary, which is super exciting. We've got a big celebration for that. But what we've been doing for 40 years, it's been really cool. So, you know, working at St. Patrick's Center, and one thing that I really enjoy doing is connecting with those clients and hearing those stories. And that allows me to, you know, in my personal time, to go out and be an advocate for the unhoused community, be an advocate for, you know, racial disparities and things like that. And so, I've learned a lot by working at St. Patrick's Center. I've met a lot of great people. I met a lot of our representatives in the House, Senate, things like that. I've met a lot of other great philanthropic leaders in our community. And I feel like as a whole, St. Louis has, you know, we all have a very common goal, and that's to end homelessness and other things, you know, other nonprofits and what we're working on, but homelessness especially, I think is really big right now.
Yeah. So we want to learn a little bit more about you. That's why we came on the show. So we like to throw it back, similar to like what you said, is let's go back to your childhood. Okay. You know, tell everybody where you're from, you know, what high school did you go to, but more or less just tell us a little bit about maybe your family and kind of growing up, heading into high school, college, stuff like that. So
yeah, right on. You know, I don't really get sucked into that where'd you go to school trick, because I'm from the country. Okay, so I'm from St. Clair, Missouri. So I have no idea about any of these municipalities, any of these school districts in St. Louis. So I'm from the country, graduated in 2010, graduated college 2015 from UMSL. I see you rocking the UMSL shirt. So graduated from UMSL. I don't really call myself a Triton just because I went to a couple different universities. I'm more of a Webster Gorlock. That's where I played baseball. Yeah. So I like to claim Webster.
That's where he went to.
So you know, I've been living in St. Louis though for, I would say, you know, maybe 7-8 years. Married. I went back to the country, actually. I live in Imperial. Mm-hmm. So, but being able to work in the city, it keeps me rooted, you know, in St. Louis. And I feel like I'm still a part of the community.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So 7-8 years in St. Louis. Tell us about some of your jobs that you had before. Were you always in nonprofit work out of college, or were you? So
out of college, I actually was a corporate trainer for AT&T. I was for a third-party authorized retailer. I did that for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And our company sold, so I left that position. And from there, so my wife was working at Washington University at the time, and she had told me about, you know, all the great benefits and, you know, how fun it was to work at WashU and so on and so forth. So I found a job at WashU that I really wanted, and I set my sights on that. And so to get there, I joined a nonprofit, a blood center, I did some business development for them. And then from there, I jumped over to WashU a year later and took a development position. That didn't work out. And that's whenever I really was able to get into my true calling, which is marketing. And so I took my first marketing position actually in the middle of the pandemic, which is crazy that position was even open because, you know, a lot of people were losing jobs. Exactly. We're losing jobs. A lot of companies were cutting positions. And it just so happened that I had a connection because, you know, a lot of it's about who you know. So I had a connection. They were looking for a marketing manager, marketing and community engagement manager. And that's what I did for a year and was able to really get into that space. And to be honest with you, I have a degree in communication, and marketing was always what I wanted to do. I always saw myself working at Nike or working at, you know, AT&T, producing those big, you know, elaborate commercials, you know, so, which is funny because I actually went to school with Kevin Miles. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but it's a State Farm guy. So it's, yeah. So
that's the new guy?
That's the new State
Jake?
Farm. Yeah. He's Jay from State Farm. Yeah. So he's from Chicago. He went to Webster. And that's where I met him. So I'm like, man, I could be producing his commercials.
Yeah.
He does a good job, man. He's
Or with AT&T. Isn't LeBron on one of the AT&T?
Yeah, LeBron. And then
LeBron's on AT&T.
Mr. Shot, man.
Yeah.
But Kevin gets to hang out with Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers all the time.
He gets, well, and Chris Paul and.
Yeah, all the State Farm guys.
Yeah, he actually just got recognized as for some young alumni award at Webster recently. So yeah, he's doing big things. He's doing all right. So anyway, yeah, you know, Kevin, you know, it would have been great to be able to do that. But anyway, that's what I wanted to do always. So being able to be in this space now in a more nonprofit centered environment is really fun just because I get to do a lot of storytelling and not as much sales. Cause you know, a lot of times with corporate marketing, it's more sales. So with nonprofit, I get to do more storytelling. I get to really be creative and really think outside the box with how I'm presenting our organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So let me see here. I know you said you wanted to talk more about Kevin. I want to talk a little bit more about St. Patrick's.
Yeah,
I mean, do you have more questions?
No, you're good. You're
okay.
good. You got this. Back.
So I just wanted to address like what work exactly is St. Patrick doing for the community?
Yeah, so St. Patrick's Center, we are the #1 housing service provider or homeless service provider in St. Louis. So we are doing anything from healthcare, housing, and employment. That's our 3 tags right there. So we offer preventative assistance so people don't lose their housing. You know, to offer housing stability, we offer services to help people find housing. We work with landlords, and we work with, you know, individuals that have units that are looking to fill. We partner with a lot of those individuals as well, real estate agents, to make sure that we're offering our clients quick and affordable housing options. And one thing that we really like to focus on too is a housing option that they prefer, that where they want to live. So, you know, if somebody wants to live in St. Anne, we want to find them a place in St. Anne. If somebody wants to live in North City, we find them a place in North City, and so on and so forth. So, housing is obviously our biggest venue or avenue. And so we also have a meal service program where we serve over 100,000 meals a year, which is amazing. So every single day, except for one of the year, we serve meals to really anybody who wants to come in. Obviously, mostly it's someone who may be experiencing homelessness, but anybody that needs a meal that day, we serve that. We have a program called Hospital to Healthy Housing, which is a program where we work with local hospitals like SSM, Barnes, the hospitals in the downtown space, and we help alleviate their emergency room, like the regulars in the emergency room system. So we have someone that works on site. That person will then coordinate with the emergency room staff to identify the people who are consistently there, determining if they're unhoused, which a lot of times they are. And then our case manager will work directly with them to get them housed, to get them better, health, like maintenance, better medical appointments with the doctors and things like that. Just trying to coordinate all these things that a lot of people don't have time or don't have the capacity to think about.
Yeah.
And then employment. That's another one. Another thing that we're really, really big on is we have a lot of workforce development programs. We have job training. We have typing classes. We have resume building classes. And we work really well with corporate partners for that. So Worldwide Technology is one of our biggest supporters. And we actually send a lot of our clients to work for Worldwide Technology in like a factory setting or an IT setting. So yeah.
So I want to address terminology, some of the terminology that you're using, because I'm hearing like unhoused. So is that like instead of saying like you're homeless, you say you're unhoused, or like you address, people, and I'm just, politically correct. Clients, you say that like in terms of people who are needing services from you. Is this correct?
So we use the term clients.
Okay.
We use the term clients. There are some agencies that work in this space that will say person served as a term that they use. I don't think there's anything wrong with either one. As far as unhoused and homeless, I definitely think those are both interchangeable as well. So there, the term unhoused started to be coined a couple of years ago, and obviously with unhoused STL, a lot of people are seeing that account grow, and so the term unhoused is more widely used. I actually did a podcast though with one of our clients, and I asked them what they preferred, and they said, I was homeless. What do you mean? Like I didn't have a home, I didn't have a place to stay. One term that you're seeing used more and more now, because of course we've got all these terms being politically correct, is houseless. So we say homeless, but a lot of times, a home is, you have to make that. It takes years to make a home, a place that you love, a place that you can build a family and you can feel really comfortable with. But, when you think about it, when we're offering services, if we can find somebody a house, that is going to be substantially beneficial for us to then start to providing more and more services to our clients. So, it may not be a home, but it's a house. So people now are using the term houseless.
Okay. Just the foundation, right?
Just the foundation. It's just a place to sleep, place to cook, eat, rest. And so it may not be a home, but it's a house. It's a shelter. So a lot of times now you're hearing houseless as a term to be used.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Any others? We
have, I'm glad you asked that, because on our website, on one of our documents, we have what's called person first language.
Yes. We use that in the education world.
That's, right. So it's very important to be proactive in using person first language, that people aren't their issue. They are humans first. So a person with mental disability or a person with an addiction to alcohol or drugs. So it's not a drug addict.
Yeah.
So using person first language is really important. So, if someone's interested, feel free to jump on our website and check out person first language as it pertains to someone who may be unhoused.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's just a lot of, and things change, and things will probably change next year too, about ways that you guys approach your clients and stuff like that. But I have like kind of a big question, that I don't know if anyone has the answer to, but like, how does the city of St. Louis fight to end homeless? Like, I mean, what are the steps that we all need to take for the people that are listening? I mean, I know everybody, you have all these organizations, but like, I'm sure that you've been in it for a year and a half. So you probably thought like, if we just do this, or if they just give us this much money, we can do it. Or,
Oh man, this is, I could write
go on and on.
I could write a blog post about this and it would be 5 or 6 pages long. So, okay. So how do we end homelessness? Housing. Right. And so there's a couple big issues in St. Louis when it comes to ending homelessness. We have finances are a big thing. There is enough money in the city of St. Louis to end homelessness, but the money is not being allocated to homelessness. There's so many other issues that the money is being, allocated to. So with finances and with, actually having the resources, so there aren't enough houses out there. There's not enough living spaces to accommodate for all the individuals that are needing, and also affordable living spaces at that. So, the inventory of homes right now is very low. There's an extended period of time for someone who is on Section 8 or who has a voucher for them to actually find a house that is in their price range. Even one that's, not in their price range. No one's finding homes right now. Everybody's going through the same issue. So just imagine being homeless and having this issue exacerbated because there's just no inventory. So, I definitely think that there are ways that we can end homelessness. So this is interesting. there are large cities in the United States that have actually ended veteran homelessness. And one reason why that is because the government actually gives substantially more money to veteran services and homelessness services and mental health services than it allocates for just your general population. And there's many reasons that this is. Obviously, someone who has fought for our country deserves these resources. And so, and there's other reasons as well. But if you look at some of these cities, and even St. Louis, we had 25% of our clients were veterans. Right now, it's 18%. So we're seeing a huge decrease in veteran homelessness because there's resources. And also, we just opened up a brand new shelter, and it's for veterans, right? So. That's another thing to look at. Like, we're able to end veteran homelessness. Why can't we then turn that into ending, general population homelessness, general homelessness?
Absolutely.
And so could we do it? Absolutely. Do we need resources? And then also there's just general disparities amongst racial groups. So it's that issue as well. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's ways to do it. And I think there are people that know how to do it. It's been, done. If you look at, there's other countries that have essentially ended homelessness with what's called the housing first method. And so, like I said, you put somebody in a home, and then you start offering these resources once they're, able to get rest, once they're able to have a place to sleep and eat, and be comfortable and really be able to do the recovery. Then you see homelessness become
becomes a system.
It becomes a system.
Go in there, boom, you're just running.
Exactly. And right now there's a lot of pushback with the housing first model. A lot of people in legislature are starting to push back on the model, saying, we're allocating too many resources to this method. And honestly, St. Patrick's Center has been doing housing first for a very long time, and we've seen great success doing it. So that's nothing that will ever change. Actually, HUD, it's required in order to get HUD funding to be a housing first organization. So I would love to see more support around that, particular piece of what we do, housing first. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see more houses.
Do you think it's more like corporate companies or city or mix of both? Like, we have a lot of big corporate companies here, mm-hmm. and then we obviously have our city and our government and stuff like that. They have to work together to probably make these things happen, because like you said, rent, houses, like everything's going up. So even for people that have two jobs, it's still hard to, afford some houses. So it's just.
Yeah. I really don't have the answer to that. To be honest with you, I'm not, I'm not really in the weeds with legislators or big corp, but like I said, my CEO is very confident that one day we'll all be unemployed because, homelessness will be not a thing. Which is funny because homelessness actually started in like the 70s or 80s. Like, it hasn't been a thing forever. It started in New York whenever they started putting people out on the street from mental health hospitals. And all of a sudden now you have all these people with mental health issues that are on the street with no homes. And then all of a sudden the system just started, becoming exacerbated and all across the country. Yeah. So Sam Saberis, a gentleman who actually founded Housing First and created the Housing First, I actually had him on my podcast, and he gave me a lesson on that. So yeah, go to check out that episode of the podcast and learn more about Housing First and homelessness.
Yeah.
So what would you say, just being in the environment and in the industry, what's one of the biggest misconceptions of homelessness?
Yeah, one of the biggest misconceptions of homelessness. Let me start over to get a good soundbite there. This is gonna be good. One of the biggest misconceptions of homelessness is the fact that people who are unhoused want to be unhoused, right? I hear that all the time. I read that all the time. Like, I'll make a post and, it'll go viral or whatever. And people will, all of a sudden that's where your trolls will start finding you, and they'll start talking about, they just want to be homeless. Leave them alone. Let them be homeless, which it's really not the case. People who are chronically homeless have found that it's just like being, what do they call someone who has been like incarcerated for a very long time? It's like being, I'm trying to think of the term.
I know what you mean. Like, I know the terminology that you're talking about, because it's just hard to get out of it.
Right. Anyway, I'll think it'll come to me. So anyway, when you're chronically homeless, like, you just think that's the only way to survive. I'll think of it. We'll come back to it. Institutionalized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Institutionalized. So it's just like being institutionalized, like, that's what you know. So when you're chronically homeless, like, that's what you know. So it seems as if this person just wants to be homeless all the time. Like that's all they know, but that's not the case. It's really hard to get out of homelessness whenever you're chronically homeless. And a lot of times you are also on drugs, or you have a mental health disorder. So that's where a lot of that misconception comes from. Another misconception is homeless people are just lazy, which is also not the case. There are a lot of homeless people that work full-time jobs and then go to a shelter, or sleep in their car, or sleep at, on a friend's couch or someone's couch because they don't have their own house. And so, all those people are homeless as well. So it's just like, they're not making enough money to afford their, obviously, like, housing is so expensive. Rent, cost of living is just so,
Food,
crazy.
groceries.
Absolutely. So it's like, these people are working, they have jobs. And then maybe if they don't have jobs, it's because they can't keep it. But can you imagine being homeless and trying to keep a job? Not having anywhere to sleep, not having anywhere to take a shower. Can you imagine getting a job if you didn't have a suit, or you didn't have a resume, or you didn't have anywhere to print off a resume, or whatever? So it's just a lot of, those are some misconceptions.
I was going downtown it was the Beyonce concert a couple years ago, and I had
Luke, did you go to this?
Yeah, it was my best friend and my brother and someone else that's not even relevant in anyone's life, but like there was a home. It was children. It was like a young girl. Okay.
Okay. I was like,
Yes, to the event we were going, and I rolled my window down to I was like, "Do you want water?" And the comment was made like, "Oh, my mom always just said homeless people are just lazy, like they just don't want to work," and I was like, that is not true. That's a complete misconception.
Yeah.
And you need to get your mind right thinking that, you don't know what the story is. You don't know. You can't just put that on them that they just don't want to work. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of reasons. Veterans, mental illness, all the things that you said. I'm like,
And so, you just mentioned veterans. So I love the fact that you said get your mind right, because a lot of people do need to get their mind right. Like when you think of veterans, a lot of times, they're used to being the ones, doing it themselves. And they're used to, and it's a different life. Like civilian life is way different than military life, like where you're told to do this, this, and this, and this. So imagine going into civilian life and no one's telling you where you need to be at every second of the day, what you need to wear, every day. And so it's just different. So like when you have a veteran that's homeless, like their life has changed substantially. And just imagine not having, coming home and not having any support, right? Being away and then coming home, maybe a loved one has passed away, or you coming home to a different city, maybe where you were stationed, and you don't have any support. So it's like, who's going to help me get acclimated to everyday life? Imagine being 18, going to war while all your friends are going to college, learning life skills.
Right.
You go to war for eight to 10 years, come back, and all you know is just how to make your bed, how to, tuck your shoes into your boots and, go and fight a war. And you don't know any of these other life skills. Right. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times people don't take that into consideration as well.
Wow. So many different factors.
Yeah. So many different factors.
And it's, it's just interesting. Like you said, the last year and a half, you've just really immersed yourself in it. So, I'm a marketing guy, you're a marketing guy. I kind of want to learn how much different, because you've worked with a lot of different things, but like how, I know you mentioned it before, like storytelling and stuff like that, but like how much different is it to market towards, like you're marketing towards donors and volunteers rather than like if I'm working with a restaurant, like I'm just marketing towards like what special they have for happy hour. It's so much different, but it's so much like less power. Like what you're doing like probably gets you excited. So tell us about like that side of the business, because I know that that's just,
a challenge.
A challenge for you.
It's definitely a challenge. So when you're talking about, marketing to happy hour, right? That's more of a short-term marketing strategy. So whenever I'm thinking about marketing at my nonprofit, I'm thinking like 6 months to a year. I'm thinking like a long, full-term marketing strategy. And so that marketing strategy has multiple levels, multiple layers. And so if I'm just starting in January, which I don't start my marketing strategy in January, but if I start my marketing strategy in January, like I have to look and see with my organization and what we do, what months or what, special social media days or whatever are in the calendar do I have to, fit in, and do I have to tailor our campaign around the giving days? There's Give STL Day and there's Giving Tuesday. I have to, we have to figure out those days. Events, when we have events, we have 3 big events a year. I have to figure out my campaign around those events, and as well as our end of the year giving season. So whenever I think of a campaign, I'm thinking, long term. And I had to figure out, how do I fit this campaign in with all of these other different, areas of the year.
Right.
So one of the biggest things, differences between corporate and nonprofit communication and marketing would be, I don't have anything physical or tangible to give to our supporters, to our customers. I mean, I could give away like a trinket or, whatever, but that's, studies have shown that donors don't want that and supporters don't want that. They want you to keep that money in your budget. Right. So what I am more so doing is I'm actually creating emotion. I'm telling stories to get a reaction out of the end user or the end viewer. Whether that is joy for some organizations, especially entertainment, nonprofits, or, RAC, things like that, right? The museums, like they're trying to get, excitement and joy out of their end user. For me, I'm trying to get empathy, and I'm trying to get, I'm trying to get our users to see, this is a real issue in our community. And these are the people that are affected. Yeah. And so that's what a lot of nonprofits, that's the task, especially in marketing, that they're dealt with. And so, like I said, the biggest thing that I have to do is I have to be able to tell stories really well. And that helps me get that and generate that emotion from our supporters. So like I said, I do that by creating campaigns. Last year, we had a campaign called More Than a Soup Kitchen, which is, we started the podcast, we created a magazine, and then a lot of our messaging was around the fact that St. Patrick's Center, although we offer 100,000 meals a year, and we're so grateful for all of our parishes and groups that help provide those meals on a weekly, monthly basis, we are more than just that soup kitchen. We offer all of those different services. So that was one thing that I really wanted to highlight last year. And so this year we're going to be highlighting our 40-year anniversary. So we'll do a lot of things around that, partnering with a lot of organizations. But yeah, so to sum it up, the difference is the
it's
tangible.
More strategic. Yeah, it's strategic, and you have to be really good because, like you were saying, like you're not trying to sell somebody a $20 bottle.
You're providing value to real people in their lives.
Yeah.
And benefiting them.
And and it's hard to show that too, because there's competition. It's just like, your podcast is competing with other podcasts, and so like your marketing agency is competing with other ones. Like, I'm not your competition by far, because you're killing it. Well, congratulations, Mango. Everybody in the corporate space, they're competing, but we're also competing as well. And it's not like, a knockout, drag out fight, but there are other service providers, there are other nonprofits, and just, individually speaking, I have a lot of nonprofits that I like to support, the Boys and Girls Club, or, Family Forward, or whatever. So it's like, we have to be able to, during those giving times, we have to be able to tell a compelling story to say, hey, whenever you're divvying up that $10,000 check, we want to make sure that we're getting a larger portion. Or whenever you have a planned gift, an estate gift, we want to make sure that you're considering St. Patrick's Center for that gift. So yeah, it's a lot about that as well. We do have competition, and I've got to be able to tell a better story. It sounds weird to say it that way.
I know what you're saying, because it's like, when you say story, it seems almost like something that's like fictionalized, but it's truth. And it's, again, just making sure that people, and again, even saying like you're getting empathy from people, like people aren't like, I want empathy, but like in this case, it's important and it matters. So
it matters to your clients, and that's like, you have a duty, you guys have a duty to your clients to like provide those services. So like, I'm sure just like in any business, like there's bad years and good years, and and stuff like that. So, and
our clients we love our clients, and they love us, and our clients are more than happy to hop on the podcast or come and tell us about their experience with St. Patrick's Center or with homelessness, because they know what we were able to provide to them. And they know that by telling their story and having us share it, it's not only going to inspire someone that may be going through their same situation, but it's also going to be inspiring a donor or a supporter. And it's a way for them to say thank you. A lot of times that's one thing that that's one thing our clients really want to say. They just want to tell our supporters thank you for really being able to step in and fill the gap for them, offering that hand up, not a handout.
Right. So tell us a little bit about like the what's the word? The demographics, I guess, of the people who you are serving. Like, is it mainly veterans? I know you were saying that you now have a new offset veterans
shelter.
for that. But then like, what about like, you know, younger teenagers? I don't know. What does that look like for you guys?
So for St. Patrick's Center, we serve adults.
Okay.
We don't serve youth. We serve adults. We do have a 24-hour women's shelter called our Women's Night program. And I know we have a lot of your listeners probably have helped out with that, Mahika, and we have a lot of individuals that have really stepped up to serve in that Women's Night program. So thank you to all of them. Our Young Professionals group does that as well. But we also, once again, serve 18% of our clients are veterans. So we do have a lot of resources. We have like almost a whole section of our short-term services are dedicated to veterans. So the new facility we opened, it's McFarland Place. We just opened in November, which is super awesome. Thanks to Senator Roberts and Mike Weaver, who's on our Young Professionals board, who led the charge in that and worked alongside Senator Williams. And so it was really cool to kind of see that process start in the summer, and then how they actually started last spring, and how legislature works. And so Mike took it to Senator Roberts, and Senator Roberts took it and really carried it along, and they did it together, and they were able to get us almost $1 million in funding for that 24 unit facility. Wow. And so so going back to demographics, we work with a heavy African-American population. Obviously, that's pretty typical in St. Louis, so no surprise there. When it comes to working with youth, though, that's part of our partnership. So like when we have families, we work very closely with the school district, for instance, so the St. Louis Public School District. And there's an amazing woman over there, Dr. Deidre Thomas Murray. She's so awesome. She works with the foster care students and homeless students. And so we if we have a family, we'll call them and we'll partner with them. And that's one thing that we're really proud of is our ability to partner with other organizations to make sure that we're providing the best care and resources to our clients as possible. I think that's our typical demographic for sure.
Yeah, that's nice that you guys partner. And I noticed I watched a segment on the news this morning about you guys doing a collab. It was on Show Me St. Louis. I think it was Dana. Yeah. So you guys did a collab with Carly and By Jack.
Carly and By Jack reached out to us about 2 months ago, and they were like, "Hey, we want to do a collab. We want to do a T-shirt." And we've done some collabs like this before, and so I thought this was super awesome. Everybody loves Carly Lass, right, on Instagram, and so I had actually reached out to her on accident, trying to connect with the Blues, and so I was like, "Oh crap." Once she told me the story, and so she didn't forget it, because she's like, "Hey, St. Patrick's Center, like that was cool, and you guys are doing some great things." So they featured us in their first month of their 12 months of giving, or 12 months of give back, and so they created a T-shirt graphic that threw on, a pair of pants and some shirts, and they're selling that on their page, By Jack is, and then they're going to donate all the proceeds back to St. Patrick's Center. So they jumped on. Awesome. They jumped on. Great day this morning, and I wasn't able to make it, but I sent Anna Olwick, who's one of our young professionals. She's super powerful in the space, and she was more than excited. I called her last night. I was like, "Hey, can you do this for me?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And so
it's cool opportunity to get on there, and it's a cool niche. And you guys collab with Kababi, like one of the dopest artists in the city.
Kababi was doing he did the graphic, and the graphic was dope. It was funny. He did one before, and it was way dope too. And I'm like, man, but I don't know if we can use that one. But I was like, that would be really cool for another organization to be able to use a different graphic. I'll have to see if he can share that, his first idea, because it was pretty sweet. It might end up on a mural somewhere. It was dope. But so anyway, so he's gonna do, or he did that, and we're super excited to kind of get them started. And so I reached out to Carly, and I was like, "Hey, like if you guys, being the marketing professional I am and working in a nonprofit space, I'm like, I've seen other groups do this before, and it never works out. It always fails. Like you barely sell any shirts because, you really don't know much about the nonprofit space. A lot of people aren't willing to go and do what you guys are doing, volunteering, getting their hands wet or getting their hands dirty, and really trying to figure out what is the message and the meaning behind this. And Carly was like, "No, we want to do that. Like, tell us how we can make this program, these 12 months, really, excel. And I was like, yeah, I'm more than happy to be here as a guinea pig and really, we could figure out what works, because in February and going forward, you guys can really make an impact if you have good intention and you do it right. Yeah. And so not that I know exactly how everything goes, but I know there's ways, and I know what nonprofit professionals and marketers, how they want to partner. So I'm like, this is, let's just talk and we can really figure out how to really maximize your guys' opportunity, because no one wants to just do something just to do it, just to kind of say, hey, look, we're doing this now, we're doing this for nonprofits. I feel like
you got to put the work in.
You got to put the work in. Yeah. And I'm not trying to work with anybody that's just doing it just to kind of glorify their brand. Like, especially like, it's just not, it's not it's not good for us. It's not good for St. Patrick's Center just to let everybody do whatever. But I really felt like Carly was super genuine. She's really been trying to find something, some way to really support St. Patrick's Center. And she found a way. And I think it's really going to be cool.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, in terms of getting your hands dirty, how can people like in the community in St. Louis, people who are listening to this, actually support? So, I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, it's Thanksgiving and Christmas time. Can we come down and feed? But like, there's 10 other months in the year. So like, do you guys do like clothing donations and like, or canned good donate, like where people can at least just give things to you, or like get involved in serving lunches? What do you guys have? Yeah, for sure.
There are definitely times in the year where we lack in donations and we lack in volunteer support, and the holidays are not it. So if you're looking to engage, look at some of those off seasons to support. And so some ways to support, those donations of canned goods and non-perishable items. Obviously, we had DeSmet just donated over 11 tons of food and non-perishable items, which was a lot. It was like, it was several truckloads. I mean, they were in and out. I mean, that was actually one of the craziest, like seeing all that food, and we had bare shelves before they had showed up. And this is going into the winter season. So like having them do that for St. Patrick's Center is going to carry us for several months. And so extremely generous. And it was a competition, and I don't know how well they did, but those gentlemen at DeSmet, amazing what they did for us. So doing canned food drives and things like that would definitely be something, a way to get back. And volunteering, we have thousands and thousands of hours of volunteer support from our donors, which equates to tens of thousands of dollars, right? Saving that money in payroll by having our volunteers come in and help out has really, really helped us out financially, and being able to put that back into our services. So if anybody's looking to step up and come and volunteer, you can check out the volunteer page on our website. Okay. And we have our static volunteer opportunities, but every once in a while we do have, one-off opportunities, such as if we have an event, or if, we have during the holidays, there's a couple different one-off things that we have. In the summer, we have some opportunities to volunteer that are, atypical. So check that page out every once in a while and see if there's a new opportunity to volunteer. We throw it up on the social media every once in a while, on social media.
Showing your age, bro.
How old are you, Kevin?
On the socials.
On the social, whenever we whenever we can. But so that's another way. And just advocacy, that's my biggest thing with our social media. Is just creating advocates. And when we talk about the competition, right? I mentioned that earlier. Like I want St. Patrick's Center to be the new generations, or the upcoming generation's choice of charity, right? And so one way to do that is to start educating people now, like whenever you're in college, or maybe you're, in high school, which is great because there are a lot of high schools that do big events to support St. Patrick's Center. They're learning about St. Patrick's Center, especially those private school kids. Whenever they start to get those jobs, doctors, lawyers, and they want to start writing those 6-figure checks, they're going to see us on social media for years and years and years. And then finally, whenever they have the propensity and the will to start donating at those levels, I'm hoping that our consistency in social media and really sharing those stories is going to stick with them to where St. Patrick's Center becomes a household name. And so way back when I was talking to a gentleman about branding, and they were like, look at this Nike sign. Look at the McDonald's arches. Like these are symbols. You don't even need to see the name. You know what these are, right? And so in my mind, I always thought like I want the St. Patrick's Center Shamrock to be a household name. I want people to look at that and not have to read the name and know exactly what it is. And so that's my goal with social media.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, and that's inspiring. I think what you guys do, the work that you guys do, it helps way further than just like getting them a house. It helps a lot of the other issues that our city has. Like that, it's the first, like that step could eliminate, all types of other issues that they may have, like violence or crime or whatever it may be. Like
absolutely.
Starting with just getting a house and helping them get the resources they need to get a stable job, is just inspiring. I mean, there's a ton, like St. Louis, I think and we live here, so we're exposed to it, but I think we're a huge nonprofit city. Like there's so many nonprofit supports, so many businesses give back. Like, this beer right here, they give back to the Veteran Community Project. Like just like $1 from every beer, like this type of stuff. That
Veteran Community Project's no joke, man. Those guys are awesome. Yeah. Came out of Kansas City. VCP, man, they are a great group. I really like them and what they're doing. So kudos to, what is that? Four Hands. Yeah. Kudos to Four Hands for supporting the Veteran Community Project. We have one individual that just left St. Patrick's Center and went there, and I wish her all the best, Ashley, because I'm really loving what they're doing. They're building houses for the unhoused community. So. Yeah.
No, it's inspiring. And St. Louis, just like we support people and but there's more that we can do. And that's what we're going to start doing with these episodes is like, hopefully our listeners that listen for the fun entrepreneur stories and the funny stories and stuff like that. But then they can come to these episodes and be like, okay, like not everything's all gravy all the time, right. And it's when you're living out in West County or you're living out in these cities, you don't see it all the time, unless you go to a Cardinals game.
But, St. Louis is definitely, huge supporters of nonprofit. There's so many areas in which people can support, whether that's the arts, whether that's civil service or civic services, whether that's social services, whatever. Like there's so many areas in which people can support nonprofits. But what I'm seeing a lot of now is people trying to start their own nonprofits. And so my biggest thing to that would be just find out if there's an organization that's already doing things well before you jump out and just go ahead and get
infrastructure that has the team.
Exactly. There's organization. I mean, it's like reinventing the wheel. Like if you think about it now, there's just about every type of nonprofit that you can imagine, whether you agree with every single thing they're doing or not, join a board, try to be decision maker within that organization or be able to offer your feedback or expertise or whatever it is, because starting a nonprofit, it's taking resources from other groups that are already doing it well. And not that, anybody's out there taking, resources from St. Patrick's Center, but just as a nonprofit professional, I see this all the time and people ask me all the time, like, hey, I want to start a nonprofit. And when someone says that to me, I'm like, have you looked to see if there's already one doing it well? And it's funny because I had a guest on at the end of the year, into 2022. And he goes, I said, what would you say to someone thinking about supporting St. Patrick's Center? And he said, check their report card, check their statistics, check their, he's like, they have a good rep, they know what they're doing. If you're going to support, like, this is the agency to do it. And honestly, go ahead and check someone's report card, check their, 990s and see how well they're stewarding finances and things like that before you just jump in and start supporting a group. Because you'd be surprised, a lot of people don't support the Red Cross because of, how much their executives get paid. Like if you look at some nonprofits around the city of St. Louis, it may be the same case.
Right.
But you have to be, very intentional with what you're looking at, because some of those executives really deserve what they're getting because they've made serious change in the community. And some of them, I'm like, I don't even know what your nonprofit does. It sounds like you guys are just raising money and taking it all. So be very diligent in the nonprofits you support, check the report cards, check the 990s, and really be intentional because there are so many out there. And there's.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. So it is the STL bucket list show. So I texted you yesterday and I said,
I was forewarned.
I said, what are a few of your bucket list spots? I mean, you hang out in the city a lot. So, I mean, I'm sure you have some good restaurants that you like to go to, maybe some nice parks that you like to duck
Imperial,
off to.
Whatever. You're out that way, guys.
Right.
We may have some guests. I'm sure we have some guests out there.
Oh, man, you definitely got some guests in Imperial.
They drive up here when there's a Blues game.
Come on, man. Don't do that. No, I'm playing.
Show, man.
All right, bucket list spots. Man, I'm really big into Mexican. Azteca and Fenton is a really good Mexican spot. A lot of people don't really know about that. Panda and Fenton is really. I lived in Fenton for a little bit, so Panda, as far as Chinese restaurants go, I know everybody's gonna be like, they ain't got nothing on the city food and city Chinese food, but it is definitely a dope spot.
Hey.
And it's not. And I'm not talking Panda Express. I'm talking like it's Panda. It's really good.
Yeah.
I just learned this recently. My mom does the owner's banking, and she goes in there and just gets free Panda, and I'm like, do I need a name drop or what? But it is really, go there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing that. But Panda in St. Louis, another good spot. Just a kick it spot. I'm old, man. I don't really hang out too much in the city. I will say SLU basketball games are always fun. Definitely SLU basketball games. I feel like more people should support local athletics. I'm a huge Ohio State Buckeye fan, but I've been working with my buddy Kyle over at SLU and Learfield Properties, and had opportunity to go to several SLU games recently and in the past year, and it's been fun. And they've got a good team now, so that doesn't hurt.
Have a good team.
Yeah. So Lindenwood's Division I now too. So support Lindenwood University. I'm big in athletics. Yeah, I don't know, Luke, man. STO bucket list. What do you got for me? What are some spots? I mean, because I'm always looking at your stuff, and you always tell me Venda said and go hit up these spots.
Well, you can't go to Venda set anymore because they burned.
Oh no! So you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, you can go to Louis.
We'll cut that out of the podcast. Okay.
No, we miss Venda set. That used to be our special occasion place.
Louis
great.
Russell's.
Yes, Russell's is great.
One of our favorite. That's our favorite brunch.
You know, we're right down the street from Rosalita's. That place is popping though.
Rosalita's is good.
Is nice.
We love Grace Meat and 3.
In the Grove. That's a good fried chicken
good.
spot.
Okay.
Catfish from there.
High Low Coffee is my spot. If you want to catch me, if anybody want to go get a coffee downtown off of Wash Ave, High Low that's a good go-to. I got Blueprint Coffee. It's a really good spot.
We were just at High Low. It's the Blueprint at High Low.
Oh,
where we were just
like,
it's got the library.
It's got the walls on Washington right next to it with all the
That's where Kebabi's at. Kebabi's down there. That's where our podcast studio's at right there.
They got. Oh, yeah. Mike Martin.
Yeah, Mike Martin.
Yeah. Great matcha.
Yeah, they had a good matcha. But yeah, like Russell's, I would say, looking for some Mediterranean food, like Olio is amazing by Ben Paremba. What do you think? Anything else that you
I've never been to the Botanical Gardens though. And I think you've been there recently, right?
You should go in like the summer. It's just April. Go in April because that's when all the tulips pop and it's just gorgeous.
I know you'd be waking up early and working out at Tower Grove Park though. Not anymore? Not anymore?
Oh, here we go. This is a good opportunity to shout out F3 St. Louis and F3 Jeffco. So F3 Faith, Family, and Fellowship are Faith, Fellowship, and Fitness, is a great organization working out at 5:30 in the morning at different areas of St. Louis. Look them up, f3stlouis.com, f3jeffco.com. These guys are great. Yeah, me and Luke joked about
you were
that.
like, yeah, man, I'm down in the city. Like, you hit me up hella early one day, and I'm like, damn, dude. Because we live right by Tower Grove Park. And he's like, yeah, I'm working out with a bunch of guys just up here. I'm like, 5:30 in the winter, too. Yeah. It was cold, I think, too.
Yeah, I stopped doing that, man. Long story short, I might jump back in. Those guys are great. That's a great community builder right there, is joining a fitness group. So, yeah,
that would be nice. You like a basketball? Would you tell me to join a b-ball team?
You should
softball
join
team?
Kind of.
I need a hobby.
She says I need me a hobby.
Yeah, she's like, I need a hobby.
Something. Try to take brain breaks from work and go do something active for your mind.
It's hard.
You got that nice little gym right there, don't you? Genesis, or what is that called?
Yeah, Genesis next door. That's a good one. And then Club Fitness. But like something different about like getting together with some people. Like when you go to the gym, you can go to the gym with people, but like you got your headphones in.
We've been watching too much Kevin Hart and like the boys are all just kicking it. Like, they're hanging out. So we're watching
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man.
Yeah.
And
the new one.
The Best Man series. They were like playing their poker every week. I'm like, you need to do that with your boys. Get out and let me have some time.
So you want him to do that so that you can then find something
so I
for
can
you
just
to do.
She can
be
read.
in peace and read in peace.
You're a reader? Okay.
Yeah.
I heard you had a bunch of essays to grade. How'd that go?
I did have a lot of. They're all done now.
They're all done. Okay.
Those who turned them in. They're done. They did good.
What kind of teacher are you? Are you like
English,
that?
High school English.
No, I know what teacher. Like, are you like a friendly teacher? Are you like,
I am friendly, but I'm
like...
strict. I'm pretty strict, and I do not play the like we're friends card because I'm too young for that, and I don't want anything to be like I'm not your friend.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not. But I'm cool. Like
you are strict, though.
They think, and I think they think I'm mean sometimes because I'm young and strict, and they don't expect someone young and like I'm older than they think. That's the problem. So they think that like I'm gonna be like this cool laid back, and I'm like, no, we have like I'm trying to train you guys to be good citizens in the world. Like we have responsibilities and expectations, and I just don't play.
You don't play. I like that. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna flip the script on you guys. Talking about nonprofit space. Why do you guys choose to support local nonprofits? Because I know you guys support the Little Bit Foundation, especially when the flood happened. You guys really stepped in, and I'm sure that really helped their bottom line with all the support you guys generated. That was the big
one we wanted to work with. Just again, like with me being in education, like they do a lot of work.
Yeah.
With education.
I love the work that they do.
Yeah.
Their staff is awesome as well.
Sad. That was so sad.
It was like 3 days after.
I mean,
it was crazy, dude. I know you guys had just visited, and all of a sudden that flood happened. I mean, because you guys are also supporting boys and Big Brothers Big Sisters, is that right?
Yeah, we did the blanket drive.
The blanket drive.
So I think that and this is really Marissa's thing, is like we're passionate about it, but we have this platform, we have this community, and I look at people that have these big communities, and I feel like, oh, you could do more. Like this celebrity could do more. This celebrity could do more. But it's like we have 100,000 people in the city within like this is a small city. We have like we have the whole city.
You guys have it all.
Work is just important. It's important. It's important to support people who are doing great things, and like I just believe that.
Yeah.
I just think people need to do that, and it's like we love to make food posts. That's fun. We like to eat, but it's like, okay,
where's the real impact?
Yeah, it's just impact is important. And I think now, like, as we're just getting older and like, we can toss some of that stuff to, not that it's not important to support local businesses. That's what we want to do. But like, just this is important.
Trying to switch it up to be more of like a community advocate more than just like an influencer. That, like we've done the influencer stuff and we feel like we've built this brand that people trust, and like having you on this podcast and then making a post out of your guys' 40th anniversary, the awareness is worth a lot. The awareness is worth a lot. So if we do this every month, like you said, we're building that consistent thing of like STL Bucket List wants to highlight these, and they're all different ones. Like we have a different one.
Like we always say, people, places, events. Like I think we've done a lot of places in terms of like food. We do events. That's always going to be like the people like you guys who are doing things impactful for the other people in community, the people who need help and support. That is,
you can tie it into like you guys are doing a 5K. Like that's an event. Tie
it in.
When
is the 5K?
They do the Veterans
in November.
Yeah, the
Veterans Day 5K.
Okay, well, I'll hit you next year.
Chill. I'll come work it. Let me work the finish line, bro.
The start line is the finish line, so you can be all day.
We'll do it for my birthday.
I'm getting content.
Dude, I'll tell you though, we've worked together for 13, 14 months now, and it's been like a whirlwind because when we started working together, and you made that first post when you came to St. Patrick's Center, like that kind of started a domino effect, because after you made that post, we were getting volunteers out the woozah. And so from there, now other influencers are reaching out to say, hey, Dante reached out and he came and did a vlog on us, for giving during the holidays. And then Mahika reached out, and then all these other influencers started reaching out and engaging and following. Yep. And I think that, like I said, it was a domino effect, and we're still seeing, the effects of that. And so for you guys, the impact, exactly. And for you guys to still be on that wave, it's crazy, because a lot of people would have been like, we're good, we did it.
No, we don't bullshit over here.
He's like, we're gonna keep this.
We don't even realize the impact because you don't see it firsthand. Like if you wouldn't have ever told me that, we would have never known. But like if let's say next month we highlight a different nonprofit, maybe a smaller one, how much impact of them coming on the show, they might not ever get an hour to talk. Dude, you get a new segment, you get 2 minutes, you get 30 seconds. Like
cut.
What can you say in an hour?
And do you know how much you have to pay for those new segments? Thousands of dollars for a nonprofit to get on to Great Day, or for a nonprofit to get.
They don't have nonprofit rates, or
I mean, no, there's no nonprofit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying the same rate. Well, if I want like an email blast or something like that, I might get a nonprofit rate. I mean, it depends on who your rep is.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to me that I've got to pay for this, and it's like, who was going to come on anyway? The segment was going to be blank, and so
right.
It's like, can we, can you guys just do good, right? And so, I'm not going to say this, but I'm thinking it. And with the way that you brand your as far as media goes, the way you guys brand your STL Bucket List as the number one, so I think that's just, I don't want to offend my friends in the media, but I think you guys are doing things that we got to pay them to get, and it's the good stories. We have, anytime, we have a new law that comes into effect, they come beating down our door for a story. We do have one really good partner that we work with, Jenna. Actually, Jenna and Justina are both really good partners. Jenna Ray and Justina Cornell. They tell more of the positive stories at St. Patrick's Center, like when we open new facilities and things like that. But a lot of times it's only whenever negative stuff happens that, you know, the news wants to come talk to
somebody
us.
to talk to.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's like, come get a good news story from us, you know, come get the positive. And at that point, I was like, screw it. I'm just going to start posting the positive on my own. We're going to create this podcast and we're going to tell the story.
Change the narrative.
Exactly.
It's a shift, and it's smart that like people like you are in there because, you know, some of these nonprofits might have like, you know, an older group of people that aren't willing to change and like really put their money and time into social media. But obviously that stuff's powerful too. I mean, all of it works together. It's all the gasoline. Like the engine is the services you guys do, and the gasoline is this podcast and the volunteering and all. Like you've been killing it on social with it. So it's just, we're happy to do it, and we're happy to have you as our first nonprofit feature. Like I said, every month we're gonna have a nonprofit on, and then we're gonna go out and check out what they do, see what they do. We're gonna document it just for other people to see that. Yeah. So like you said, that stuff is valuable, and it's nice that you said like how much things cost, because you don't realize like us donating an hour or two of our time could be worth so much to somebody, and it's like we have time, you know. We ain't got kids like you.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, I remember back whenever I had time to do these things. To be honest with you, I mean, I was working in a nonprofit. I wasn't supporting nonprofits, you know, and so I am now. But whenever I was your guys' age and didn't make it seem like you guys are young. Yeah. I'm old. I am old. But whenever I'm 31.
Oh, you're 4 years older than us, bro. We're 27.
We're 27.
Before you, a lot can happen in 4 years.
I was graduated before you guys got out of high school. But
you graduated when we got out of right?
2015.
You said 15. We graduated in 14.
You beat me to it. Okay. We were in college together.
Well, you did 5 years though. I was
at Elmsville when you were at Elmsville in 2015.
No, I did
St.
my
Charles.
2 years at the community college.
Okay. Smart. Very smart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's very smart.
So last question. Yeah. This is one that I really enjoy, and a lot of people have had so many unique answers. If you could sit down and have lunch or coffee with someone in history, this person could be passed away. This could be a historic person. This could be.
I hate this question.
Why do you
it's too much pressure.
Well, I texted him though.
Okay.
I texted him about it. If I don't text people, then it's too much.
I didn't really think about it, but yeah, go ahead.
But like, and it could be a couple people. Like, if you could just, it could be somebody in a business leader, or it could just be like an athlete, anybody. Like, if you could just sit down, like if I said like you have a blank number that you can call, and like they'll show up to lunch within 1 hour, and you guys could go to Panda and eat lunch.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So one that would never happen, obviously, would be Kobe.
Oh, yeah.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might start crying. Kobe was definitely the man for me, just because. So I got 2 girls, and Kobe's a girl dad. So like, you know, when Kobe was really getting in with his girls and really, you know, being there for them after he retired, I had just had a couple kids. So I'm like, oh, this is the example. Like, this is, you know, this is how it should be. And all of a sudden he passed. I'm like, oh, there goes the example.
Yeah, he was like in the children's books, and he was doing so much. Like, he would have been, like, just right now, like a couple years later, like, he would have been doing, I mean, he was about to
Kobe would have been on track to be president, man. That dude he was just doing so well, like, and doing so many things post-career. And so Kobe, another person that won't happen, Muhammad Ali. Yeah. Muhammad Ali, I think Will Smith did such a good job portraying Muhammad Ali. I'm like, I really want to meet this dude, you know? And it wasn't just like that, you know, boxer. He made it, you know, he actually showed you who the man was. And I'm like, I want to meet Muhammad Ali. Okay, so Muhammad Ali. Somebody that I would love to just, you know, call up right now and just, you know, chat with, sit down with. It would have to be Barack Obama, man. There's nobody that has.
Michelle Obama's like my girl. I'm obsessed with her.
There's nobody that has more swag and more just humbleness and like, I don't know. He just seems like the kind of dude that you could take a lot of life lessons from. Yeah. Being in it, and it's like being in the position that he was in, the first black president. Can you imagine? It's like Jackie Robinson.
It's
crazy.
The
first, you know, he wasn't the first black baseball player, but one of the first, you know, well-known black baseball players.
Like, because that's just sports.
That's just sports. Like this is you know, this is real life. This is world stuff, you know. And so, can you imagine like all the pressure that he was under to perform, and he did it, and you know, and so, yeah, I would, if I could call anybody, it would be.
That's been a popular one. A lot of people
Barack Obama
on the show have said that.
The Obamas are the best.
Yeah. It's just an example that everybody should live. I mean, this is, you know, you had that as an example, and then you had someone else after that, and it's like, that showed you even more of an example of what the example that Barack Obama was, you know, and just being a person. I could care less about the politics, like, but the actual person.
Exactly.
I'm like, man, and he has girls too, you know, 2 girls, and I had 2 girls, and so it's like, okay, his girls are doing well too. So it's good whenever you see someone whose girls or whose kids are healthy and doing well. Seemingly, obviously, maybe they have other issues, but who knows? But like, I'm like, I want that example. I need to figure out what I can do.
That might happen.
Oh, you got.
Oh yeah, I got the plug. No, but like at least that's somebody like the other 2 people you said, that. Like obviously it's far fetched. Like one person I said was like LeBron James. Like that would be so cool, but like that's pretty far fetched. But you never know. Yeah. You never know.
LeBron James would be someone that I would just want to say kudos as far as philanthropically what he's been doing, building a school and really getting into his city. Like, you know, okay, so think about all the celebrities in St. Louis. How many of those celebrities have actually come back and done, you know, philanthropically what LeBron James has done in Akron, Ohio? One. And you know who that is? It's Cedric the Entertainer.
Really? Yeah.
Cedric the Entertainer, and working with SSM Health, he's, you know, building wings of hospitals and really prioritizing women's health. Like, kudos to Cedric the Entertainer. But we have so many people that come from St. Louis that have done absolutely nothing philanthropically in our community. And so it's like, okay, LeBron James, an amazing example of, and so J.R. Smith did a podcast with I Am Athlete, and he called everybody out. He's like, you know, he's talking about how he was at I think they were at the club and people were just throwing money, and him too, just throwing money. He's like, you know, we could be building community centers in our community. We could be building gyms. We could be building all these libraries and things like that for our community. But instead, we're in the club throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah,
throwing it and so throwing it at a bottle, like paying $50,000 for a bottle. Right.
So it's like, you know, maybe LeBron's doing that. He's way richer than probably every single other athlete in the NBA.
And that's another thing. He's like, obviously, he's almost a billionaire.
But still, it's a priority to him.
Right.
It's a priority to him. Yeah. Right. So, yeah, I definitely think if we can get more St. Louis natives, I'm not going to call out your last guest, but you know, if we could have got a portion of the proceeds from that show at the Steeple, you know, we could have done a lot with that, right? And so it's funny. I actually reached out to Bradley Beal's agents, and so they're still working on a time frame to get Bradley Beal to come back. But I talked to Bradley at a basketball game at Webster University last summer. And he's like, yeah, if we can get it on the schedule, let's do it. He's more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, Jason Tatum has a foundation too.
Jason Tatum Foundation, yeah. And his foundation, they building gyms and doing a lot with the community. And Justin, his dad, is doing an amazing job with the Tatum Foundation. Like, that's what needs to be happening on a large scale in every single community. Like, if you have the means to make positive change, you know, where are you at?
Right. Absolutely. That's a wrap. That ends it. Appreciate you for coming on, guys. If you guys actually tell everybody how they can support, and then actually tell people a little snippet about the event you got coming up this summer, about what, if no, not yet.
Well, I mean,
we can cut it.
We got lots of events.
Just visit the website.
Yeah. Check out the website. Check out our social media. You know, St. Patrick's Center, at St. Patrick's Center on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then also at More Than a Soup Kitchen on Instagram. Keep up with the podcast. Other than that, I mean, if you go to our website, it's very easy to track whether you want to make a gift, whether you want to volunteer, or just check out our stories.
Join the email list.
Go to the website, sign up for our emails. That's the best way to stay engaged. But, you know, other than that, come down to the center, man. You know, get a hold of us, send us a message, schedule a time to come down, take a tour, really get to know all of our services. We've got a lot of staff members who would love to give you a tour of the St. Patrick's Center, like what you guys are going to come and get, and really figure out how to get your hands dirty and get grimy in the mission.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
It's not that grimy.
It's very nice.
I don't know. Nice. We got some, our pasta dishes.
Well, remember when I was there and they were making fun of my haircut? Man, I was getting roasted. I was getting roasted. Everybody makes fun. I'm like,
it was the clients too. The clients.
It was the clients. It wasn't this. Yeah, it wasn't the team. The team was happy I was there. The clients were like, look at this dude. Give me. And I'm like, damn. I was like, damn. It's like that.
Our clients like to have fun. They're people, man. They're people. They're real people. Like, that's one thing that a lot of people don't notice. Like, these are real human beings, real people just like me and you. They're just without a home right now, and so they still crack jokes. They still like to have fun. There's, it's not like these are untouchables. These are still people that love to be human. And so, yeah, it was great to see them interact with you, you know, so that was cool. And you were interacting back, getting them some stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You already know. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the STL Bucket List Show. This is episode 46. We're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to keep these episodes coming out. Thank you to Matt in the back on the ones and twos, cooking up a fire episode that we put out on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Google podcast, every single podcast. Shout out to Four Hands and, of course, the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. They're the largest public funder of arts and art programs in the city of St. Louis.
Today, they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.